Hi YouTube, it's Chris here from Tech Tablets with the Asus Transformer Book T100. Now this is the HA version, so it's got the Cherry Trail X5 Z8500 in it, and 4GB of RAM and the 64GB eMMC drive in there. Now I've been using the tablet for approximately a week or so now, and so far it's been, it's been good and it's also been bad. I've had some problems with it. I'm just going to go over quickly in this video the pros and cons that I've encountered using this tablet here. So the screen size is a 10.1 inch screen and it's 1280 by 800 resolution, which is not a wonderful resolution with today's standards. With 2015, we have a lot of tablets now that have retina displays, and even a lot of the ones I review now coming out of China. But the display does make up for that lower resolution with great viewing angles. And you can hopefully get an idea here from the video that the viewing angles are fairly decent, and the display is fully laminated, so there's no air gap in there, so that helps. It is very reflective, like all tablets are with glass screens, but the contrast is good. The black levels are very dark on it, and I found that I'm very happy also with the brightness of it. This is 100% brightness. Now the camera is probably going to adjust to the brightness there with the sensor, but overall quite good. And the build quality of the tablet itself is good. It's well put together, but there's a few little niggles that I don't like too much about it. We'll start off around here. That you can probably see I've got a couple of scratches. I've tried to be as careful as possible with the tablet when docking it, but this does happen. It's susceptible to getting scratched up by the dock here. Now I'll just quickly show you the dock. I can get a hold of it right here. So when you do dock it, you have to be a little bit careful to not get it to scratch around when you put that in. And it would have been nice maybe if they'd put like rubber on the top there, or maybe plastic. Okay, the dock metal tabs there, they're metal, but if they had something on it would stop the scratches. Now that's me being a little bit fussy, but the overall build is reasonably good. Now this is metal, the back of it, the housing, and it's got a nice grey finish. This is the grey mold. It comes in various different colours, so there's a nice finish to it. Definitely like an aluminium finish there. It doesn't have that spun design that the earlier models used to have. And the loudspeakers left and right there, you can see they are quite good, quite loud too. And if I just show you the edge here, just some of the build quality on it, that it hasn't quite joined up that well along here. There is a gap there, noticeable gap just along the top there. So the fit and finish there is not 100%. Now I paid 150 euros for this model, and I expected a little bit better than that. And of course, now on the right side here, we've got a micro SD card slot. We have micro HDMI out, which is good. That can output over 1080p now, and I think it can even do 4K at 30 Hertz there. And we do have USB 2 dock here. Connector, not a dock. Very slow to charge. You can only charge so far, I think, from this port here, and not the USB 3.1 type C. Here's the 3.5mm jack for your audio out there. Now, as I mentioned, very slow charge on that. Takes a long time to charge this tablet, and if it's powered on, you're looking probably maybe about over 10 hours to charge it if you're using it at the same time. Very slow here. Hopefully we can charge from this little port here on the side. Now that's the 3.1 type C port there. And we have a volume rocker here, power on, status LED there. There's the microphones. Now I've already covered all this in my unboxing, but I'm just going to do a little bit, just a tiny bit here in this video so people know. 5 megapixel autofocus camera, pretty average image from it. Show you some examples soon. And there's that docking port connector. Now the weight of the tablet just by itself isn't bad, quite light. You just quickly weigh it. Again, I already covered this in the unboxing video if you haven't seen that. Comes in at 589 grams there. So reasonably light. Now when you connect it up to the dock, it's as simple as just sliding it in place. Well, clipping it in place. So you just line it up. There are magnets in it. There's no more latch you have to push, and boom. It's docked now. And I'll just show you the weight too. So once you have it all together, it's still a nice little package there, quite small too. Comes in at 1.7 kilos. And this has no doubt probably gone into standby. No, it hasn't. That's good. Now I'm a little bit concerned about how long it's going to take before problems start to arise from the actual docking mechanism, but just it is quite tight. And there's a little bit of flex there, a little bit of wobble, you can see. And I know on previous models there were problems with the screens cracking along the bottom here. And I already have experienced ghost touches. There's a video, there's a link of that in the description of this video to ghost touching, which is basically what it means is just touches being registered without you even actually touching the screen. That's been happening a little bit, which is an issue that is really actually bothering me, that I'm probably going to end up sending this tablet back. Now you see that I've got a crazy kind of layout here. Well, this is the French layout for the keyboard because I got this from Amazon France. Now the trackpad, reasonably small, and I'll just quickly show you that it is kind of usable. I prefer to go and just grab my mouse here and plug that in. By the way, the dock does have a USB 2 port on it. And overall, it's not too bad. Right click there. A little noisy the clicks on it, but it's good to see it's not just gestures. It does support Windows 10 gestures. And the other thing about the keyboard is, of course, 10.1 inches. They didn't have a lot of space to work with, and they've done really all they could do to fit that in. Now the keyboard here, if I just type hello, how are you? It's a little noisy, and it does have some flex and bounce to it. It does feel, compared to the tablet, a step down in terms of build quality. It's a little, I wouldn't say tacky feeling, it just feels more flimsy in the build. It's not quite as good as quality as the tablet there. Now there are a couple of issues here with just the finishing of there's a couple of like marks on here. So again, the finish on the keyboard, just a little bit like the tablet. There's a few larger gaps around here. Maybe I'm just being a little bit fussy here, but I kind of expect this quality on the Chinese tablets I review and not this brand of tablet. And overall, it's not bad for a keyboard that it is practical, because you do at least have a keyboard you can attach to it and you use that and be able to type on it, and it's very usable. Now the speed of the tablet, I'll focus on that now, is quite good when you're doing office tasks. If you're going to be using this as for a tablet for media consumption, if you want to watch movies, videos, things like that, it's perfect. It's okay for that. It's got 4 GB of RAM. Now I do have a multitasking test. I managed to run Chrome, huge amount of tabs open in Chrome and some tabs open in Edge as well, and stream 4K at the same time. It did get a little bit choppy, but I managed to do that, and it's pretty impressive coming from an Atom tablet. However, this Cherry Trail I've found is running a little slower than even the ones I've reviewed in Chinese tablets. For example, the X9 Pro ran a bit faster than that. So I'm going to try here, just going to bring up a couple of examples here of some of the benchmarks that I've run on the tablet. And here we go. I'll just stop that for a moment. So this here is the 3D Mark score for iStorm 1.2, and it's scored quite a bit lower than I expected compared to the other Cherry Trail Z8500 that I've tested. This runs a little bit lower. This actually runs probably about a good 5,000 points lower. There's a bit of a difference there. It's probably drivers, maybe something to do with the BIOS, maybe it's what's happening with the way that it's controlling the turbo. Maybe it's limited more thermals there. And also a quick look here. This is Geek Browser 3. A little slower again than the other tablets I've tested. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say that this tablet is throttling. Just like the X9 Pro, the Cherry Trail Atoms do seem to be quite hot with those extra graphics cores that they have, seem to generate a lot more heat. And this got up to 85 degrees. I do have a gaming video within the playlist here for this model, and that will demonstrate to you after I did some gaming on that. Right at the end, I checked the temperatures and it got up to 85 degrees, which is very hot, and it did actually have some thermal throttling registered there by HW Info. If you're just doing office things, you're going to be doing some docs, emails, it's not going to throttle. A performance is going to be really good for that. I found it to be actually quite fine. everything's really snappy opening things up. Now, another thing to notice that you only, when you first start to use the tablet, you're only going to have about, at the moment, I've got 32 gigabytes free, and I basically have nothing really installed on here. Just a couple of Steam games that I was actually running off an external hard drive. All I've installed is just some Visual Basics and DirectX drivers, things like that. You start off with only about 37 gigabytes free, which is a little bit less than what I've seen on other tablets. Now, Asus pack on a load of bloatware on here, which I wasn't too happy about, to start the tablet first up and have it ask me to register. It wants me to basically install some other applications. They had all these games and all this other bloatware, all this sort of crap on there that you don't want, especially when you've got limited space here. Now, you can get this model in 32 gigabytes, which I wouldn't recommend because you're only probably going to have about 12 gigabytes of free or something stupid. And then there is a 128 gigabyte version too, which is probably the one you might want to go for if you're going to be installing lots, because this is the 64 gigabyte model. And you know, I think if I was going to be staying on with this tablet, then I would probably run into space issues. You do have that micro SD card slot, so you can expand your storage, which I have tested, and I'll just show you the speeds of that. It is a little bit slow, the slot there, and it's not the fastest, but it's okay. Well, it actually does support the faster cards. This is my Evo here that was running my Samsung 64 gigabyte micro SD card, and those are the speeds I got out there, which aren't too bad. Because it's what I'm trying to say, sorry, is that it's slower than what the eMMC is. And these are the eMMC speeds, which aren't bad. This is a Samsung eMMC that's included, this model that's using it. That's the same sort of speeds I saw on the X9 Pro, which also has a Samsung eMMC in there. And just to note too, that this write speed is actually faster than my Surface 3 that I reviewed, which got about half of that. So in that regard, speeds are okay there for the type of drive it is. It's not a full-blown SSD, so you're not going to get massive amounts of speeds there. But you can take advantage of that transferring files over with the Type 3.1 USB 3 Type-C port here. You can use that there. Now, battery life is one of the positives about this tablet. Battery life is quite good, actually. Now, my first battery cycle that I did, I got only about, I think about 5 to 6 hours is what I was looking to get now. Now, I haven't charged this up for a while. It's right down now to just 29%. But I did do, before that, a full cycle. And now it's looking like I can get around 8, maybe even 9 hours of just surfing the web and things, which is really good. So maybe Asus's claim of getting 12 hours out of this running, I think it was HD videos, I think that could actually be possible. So battery life is one of the positives of this tablet here. Overall, I think it's a good tablet, but for the price you pay, I'm a little disappointed the fact that it's having that ghost touch issue there, which was present in the first generations of the Transformer book, and it seems to have made its way through somehow to the latest model in 2015, which I find really disappointing to see that. And I can kind of understand now maybe why Asus didn't reply to me when I asked them for a review unit. They just didn't even reply to me. They pushed me around different departments and then no one ever got back to me. Maybe they're just a bit worried that someone was gonna speak completely honestly about it and report the problems, unlike some review sites that just seem to focus on all the positives. Now the wireless speeds, I have been testing this out. I'm just going to go into speedtest.net here. I've been testing this quite a few times. Wireless speeds are slower than what they should be compared to other tablets I have tested, and I think I know why that is. I think it's because of the I can't type properly here with this French keyboard. Oh dear, some site's trying to install all this crap on me. Okay, just correct that now. I think I know why this is happening, because it's got that all metal design on it. There is no plastic rim or edge along the top here that's going to let the antennas get that signal more freely. I think the metal housing, the casing they use on the tablet is somewhat restricting a little bit the wireless speeds there. Now if I just do another test here. Yeah, can they put more adverts on this website? Look at them all there. Now on my other tablets that I use that use the Realtek chipset, I can get up to 50 megabits per second download speeds, and this is only doing around 30-35, so it's a little bit slower, and definitely the Realtek seems faster, but I don't think the problem is the type of card they've used. I think the problem is the design, again, of the chassis here. So while the speeds are a little low, the other negatives, charging very slow, and if you are using the tablet, if you're going to do some gaming on it and try and charge it at the same time, you're not going to get anywhere, and that's normal. But I just wish that it would charge a little faster than the slow rate it has. I mean, if you were using it now and you wanted to charge it, just as a rough gauge using battery bar here, you're looking easily, when you're using it, maybe about 10 hours to fully charge it, which is crazy. Not even the Chinese tablets are that slow. And when I first got it, it had no battery life whatsoever within the battery, and I plugged it in and left it for about half an hour, and when I turned it on, I only had about 7 or 8%, so it took a long time just to even get that. So fully charging it, you have to leave it on overnight. So if you're running low on battery and you think, okay, I'll just plug it in, Asus on their advertising page, on their sales page for this, claim it's got fast charging, but I don't see it. I don't see how it's fast charging. And just to jump back, to the speakers, they do sound good, isn't that? There's one of the positive things here. And just show you how loud they are with a silly video clip here.
All you kids are gonna love. That's right, it's Kinect Sports 3.
Game fags, when will you be releasing good games again? No! Hey! Get out! Get down! Bang! Bang!
So the output from the speakers is quite loud. So just to recap, the positives is the screen, even though it's got that lower resolution that I know a lot of people aren't going to like, it's going to be a deal breaker for them. And it is bright, it has good colors, it has good depth there with the black. Is very black, it's not a light gray or anything. So that's good. Brightness is good, viewing angles good, and the overall build of the tablet, even though I'm being a little bit fussy with how it's been put together, isn't that bad. It's quite nice. It's a good small size, it's relatively light, it has a very good battery life. The web cameras, see if I do have some samples here, are okay. No, unfortunately, I don't. They're okay, just take my word for it, they're not brilliant, but you do have autofocus on the rear camera, and the front camera is good enough for Skype. And the keyboard, you can type on it, but I do find it, getting onto the bad points here, I find it a little cramped, as you normally would for a 10.1 inch keyboard. It's cramped, it does have some bounce to it, and it's noisy. And the touchpad is noisy, being a little bit fussy, I know. And also I have my doubts about the docking mechanism in the long run. Is it going to damage and crack the screen just like the older models? And lastly, slow charging, as I already mentioned, and the fact that this screen has huge touch problems for me, which is why I'm probably going to have to return this back to Amazon, back where it came from, because I do find it personally a bit of a disappointment there with the throttling and the performance too. So hopefully I haven't blabbed on too long. I've covered at least most of the points that people would be looking for as a user. So overall, I give this tablet, if I was going to rate it out of 10, I think I'll give it a 7. Because while it's compact, while it has brilliant battery life, from what I can tell so far, it's just those points that I mentioned that would really stop me from wanting to own this tablet. I'd move on and look at something else. I do recommend, if you're looking at Atom, Surface 3. Surface 3 is probably the best tablet so far for an Atom. Have a look at that one, that's one to get. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you keep an eye on my channel, and I'll have more up and coming videos on various different tablets, mainly from China. So stay tuned and have a good day. Bye for now.